Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Cam Jennings coming at you on behalf of EpicConversions.com. Today, I want to talk to you guys about defining your own narrative. And before I get into that, I will say a couple things. Weather report. It is obviously snowing out here today. It's about 32 degrees. And to be honest, I'm on the last leg of my walk. I walked about 1.5 miles this morning. I'm walking about 1.5 miles this morning. It was snowing pretty heavy out here, but it's starting to let up a little bit now. Walking in the snow that's sticking to the ground. Walking in that, it's kind of like, if you've never walked in snow before, I guess it's sort of like walking in sand. For those of you who walked in snow before, I don't need to describe it to you, you know what it's like. But it's good, it feels good out here. These kind of like inclement weather conditions, if I can do it, then I'll just do it, because I think it builds mental strength, mental fortitude to get out here and just do it when it's harder to do, when a lot of people wouldn't do it. And I'm not the only one. I saw another dude out here running. So, but anyways, let's talk about defining narrative for a minute. I think that one of the biggest examples of this, and I'll just start with this. I was reading an article by Dan Kennedy a couple weeks ago, and this article was written in 2022, so it wasn't even written that long ago. Maybe a year or two ago it was written. All right, and if you don't know who Dan Kennedy is, he's basically the highest paid copywriter in the world. I think he's much more than just a copywriter. Personally, he's kind of a legend. He's kind of a marketing legend. And to be honest, if you don't know who that is, you need to invest more time in education. You got to educate more. You need to know who these big people are, who are pretty much legends. Read a few of their books, figure out who they are, figure out why they're legends, you know. But anyways, he was writing this article, right? And I was reading it. He wrote this article like in 2022, and I was reading it a couple weeks ago. And he was basically talking about how, you know, he doesn't let people call him on the phone or email him to like make appointments and stuff with him, like his clients. Like he forces them to fax him. He forces them to fax him. It's like this outdated technology. And I promise you, I bet half of his clients in 2022 did not have fax machines. But they probably had to actually go buy a fax machine just so they could fax this guy. That's probably, the biggest example I can think of, you know, defining your own narrative, not letting the world around you define the narrative of what you are and what you do. Now look, obviously it can't be 100% like that. The fact of the matter is, you know, if you're trying to do lead acquisition, you're trying to build your name up, you got to go to where the people are, right? But what I'm saying is, you can't be everything to everybody, okay? You try to be everything to everybody, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be nothing to nobody. Nobody's going to care. So, yeah, you can't like with an ironclad fist just do it your way 100%. Well, yeah, you might have trouble building your audience. You might have trouble building your list. However, you don't have to be so accessible that you're running around to every new social media platform, every new trend that people talk about, you're jumping on it. You don't have to do that. I think, for me, I pick and choose. Things that look interesting to me, I try. Things that don't look interesting to me, I don't mess with. All of 2023, I was hot and heavy into AI. I thought it was interesting, but I'll be honest, it's more than it was interesting. It was interesting because I felt threatened by it. I felt like, man, this thing is threatening, you know? So I wanted to keep tabs on it. And as I was doing that, I made some content about it and shared it with other people. In 2024, I'm easing off that a little bit because, I'm still going to check in on AI, regularly, but that's not how I want to define my narrative. I don't want people to look at me like I'm some kind of an AI guy, because I'm not. At the same time, I don't want people to think that I am like anti-tech, like I hate AI. If you use AI, you're not cool. Don't mess with me because you use AI. It's not like that. But I have a stance on AI, and I talked to you guys about my stance on AI. I've talked about it in the past. That's part of defining my narrative, like where I stand on things. Just like Kennedy, doesn't let people make appointments with him on the phone, doesn't let people use email. He forces people to use this like 40-year-old antiquated technology to get a hold of, which I think is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I tell you, like, for me, defining my narrative, honestly, that's not even just in business for me, to be honest with you guys. Like, pretty much everybody in my family, I got a pretty big family, they all like texting each other and talking to each other on Facebook. And me, for a long time, I didn't have a personal Facebook. I only had a business Facebook. I wasn't even friends with any of my family on Facebook. And also, like, I don't do text messaging with people. They have to call me. And they all know it. I asked my mother the other day on the phone. I said, hey, just out of curiosity, how many people in our family, and I'm talking about dozens of people now, how many people in our family do you talk on the phone with, Mom? And then how many people do you like text? How many people do you text for communication? Versus how many people do you like talk to on Facebook or whatever? You know what she said? She said, this surprised me. She said, I only talk to 2 people on the phone. Everyone else prefers text messaging. I very rarely actually talk to anybody on Facebook, but most people prefer text messaging. And we're talking about dozens of people here. But she said me and my aunt were the only ones she talks to on the phone. And my aunt is old school, and she doesn't know how to text message. She's almost in her 70s. She doesn't like text messaging. She doesn't know how to use her phone like that. My mom says she's learning, though. Maybe by this time next year, she'll be text messaging people. I don't know. So if that happens, then I'll literally be the only one in my family who talks on the phone anymore. And my sister knows it, my mother knows it, everybody in my family knows it. If they want to get a hold of me, they got to call me on the phone. Why? If, times have changed and things have advanced, why do I force people to call me? People don't call each other anymore. They text message people now. Just because the times around me have changed, that doesn't mean I have to change. Not with everything. Of course, with some things, right? Some things force your hand, right? With AI, it was a direct threat to my business. I run PLR business. So now all of a sudden along comes this fancy AI that's writing a bunch of articles for people. That's direct competition to my business. I need to know what that's about. So that's why I spent all of 2023 really understanding it and trying to get a good grasp on where AI was and what it can do and stuff. Again, I just think that, you gotta define what your narrative is. You can't be everything to everybody. You can't be, Captain Johnny on the spot everywhere, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like if you're a YouTube guy, be a YouTube guy, right? If you hate Facebook, don't do Facebook. I hate Facebook. I did Facebook for years. For years I did Facebook. Last year I started kind of realizing this platform actually makes me miserable. I check in on this thing multiple times a day, and I actually hate it. I do not like it. I want to remove this from the narrative of what I do and what I am. So I did, and the 2024, I haven't been on Facebook. I'm done with Facebook. I kind of started that process last year. It was kind of a lengthy process because I had Facebook groups with a bunch of people in them. Um, and like I wasn't sure because I used it for my business. I wasn't sure if it was gonna make sense or not. So it was a little bit of a process. I did a test run first. I did 30 days without Facebook at all, without checking in on it, and that ended up turning into about 2 months instead of 1 month. And then that's when I realized, hey, yeah, I can work without this, and I'm actually going to be way more productive without Facebook. Um, and I kind of removed it from my narrative in 2024. Um, but I guess the point that I'm trying to make, guys, and I'll wrap this up, is that you don't need to be all things to all people, okay? You have to define what your narrative is. That means what you sell, that means where you promote your stuff, that means where you choose to build audience, that means what kind of list you build, that means how you handle your customer support, that means how you respond to people when they email you, everything surrounding your business. What does it look like? What are your rules for it? Define your narrative. That's what I'm saying. And yeah, of course, you have to acknowledge some things happening around you, but I guarantee you don't have to acknowledge as much as you probably think you do. I'll give you an example, another example. TikTok came out a few years ago, and like for a while, it was all people talked about. I feel like it's starting to die down a little bit now, but I'll tell you what, for a while it was hot, 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 and everybody was talking about it. And I never had a TikTok account. I never cared to be on TikTok. Um, so it's just one of those things where, like, if something's interesting to me, I might check it out, but I don't feel the need to check it out just because that's the way everyone is going or whatever. The only reason I would do that is, like I said, if I feel like threatened by it, or like I feel like I need to like know what this is because it affects my business in a big way. If it's something like that, then okay, I'll look into something. But other than that, I only want to deal with stuff that I find interesting. So that's what I'd say about it, guys. I think more people need to define their narrative when it comes to their business and how they handle things, and not just be dragged around by like whatever the common narrative is in society. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about it. Hope that's helpful to you in some way. Just some thoughts on my mind this morning. Yeah, I'm wrapping this walk up. I'm getting inside where it's warm. So I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace now.